Welcome to SoulScripture, Chosen One. Take a deep breath, because what I'm about to tell you is not just another feel-good reminder, it's a truth written into the very structure of the universe. You've been tested, pressed, and refined, but while you were walking through those trials, something else was happening in the unseen. Every whisper against you, every betrayal, every hand that reached to take what was yours, none of it vanished into thin air. The universe doesn't work that way. It keeps a ledger, an unshakable record of intention and action. And that ledger, it's been filling up, line after line, with their choices. Now, here's the part that most people don't understand. When someone wrongs a soul like yours, the consequence isn't random. It's not just bad luck finding them. It's not even simple karma in the watered-down way people like to use that word. What's coming toward them is precise, tailored by divine intelligence, down to the smallest detail. It's an answer to a call they didn't even know they made. Because Chosen One, every act of harm is also an invocation, an invitation for the law of balance to step in. And the law always answers. You might have spent nights wondering why you had to endure what you did. Why didn't the Creator step in sooner? Why did it seem like they were getting away with it? The truth is, justice in the spiritual realm is not rushed, because it's not sloppy. The timing is exact. If it arrives too soon, the lesson isn't complete. Sometimes, the divine allows their rope to get longer, not as mercy for them, but as evidence for you. Every step they take without repentance is another foot of rope they'll eventually trip over. Think of it like this. Imagine a hidden book, kept in a vault beyond time. Every time they lied about you, another page was added. Every time they took from you without cause, another line was written. They may have laughed in the moment, thinking no one saw, but in that unseen vault, nothing was missed. And now, the keeper of that ledger has opened the book. The ink has dried. The total is due. What's coming isn't vengeance in the petty human sense. It's correction. And correction from the divine is both poetic and surgical. Poetic because it mirrors exactly what they did to you. Surgical because it cuts right to the source of their corruption. They won't just lose what they took. They'll feel the emptiness they tried to inflict on you. They'll experience the betrayal they once engineered. The weight of isolation they wished for. You will sit heavy in their own hearts. And here's the beautiful, almost paradoxical part. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. In fact, your only job is to keep moving forward. The ledger is not in your hands. That's why you never needed to scheme or retaliate, because the moment you step out of alignment to fight on their level, you leave your post. And your post, Chosen One, is the high ground. From there, you can see clearly that their downfall is already in motion. The ancient ones knew this truth. In sacred texts, in myths, in parables, they spoke of the scales, two plates perfectly balanced. Hurt the innocent, and weight falls on your side. Do enough damage, and the balance shifts until it tips over completely. That tipping, that's where they are now. And once the scale moves, there's no hand on earth strong enough to push it back. I want you to remember those moments when you felt unseen, unheard, and unprotected. The days you cried alone, thinking nobody would ever be held accountable. Those were the days the universe was writing the case, building the file, gathering the evidence so complete that when the judgment comes, there will be no loophole, no excuse, no place to hide. So when you hear the subtle shifts, the opportunities drying up for them, the allies stepping away, the doors quietly closing, understand, it's not coincidence. It's the ledger. And every item being checked off is something you once endured in silence. They'll call it bad timing, they'll call it bad luck. But you'll know the record is simply being balanced. And here's your final takeaway for this moment. The same law that delivers their consequences is the law that will deliver your restoration. Just as every negative they poured into your life has been counted against them, every tear, every prayer, every act of endurance has been counted for you. This is not just the end of their unchecked actions, it's the beginning of your elevation. The universe is not only closing their chapter, it's opening your next one. And the difference will be night and day. You are not waiting for payback. You are stepping into proof. Proof that the unseen sees all. Proof that you were never abandoned. Proof that the Creator's timing is perfect, even when it feels unbearably slow. So, chosen one, stand tall. The ledger is closing, and the balance is about to swing in your favor in ways you couldn't have imagined. This is the first step in understanding that every hand against you has already written its own ending. Chosen one, let's talk about that silence of yours. You remember it, don't you? Those moments when you could have spoken up, when you could have fired back, when you could have dismantled every lie they told with a single sentence. But you didn't. You chose stillness. You chose calm. And the world around you, especially those who stood against you, mistook that as surrender. They thought they'd broken you. What they didn't know is that your silence was never empty. It was loaded. Every pause, every step back, every quiet refusal to engage was a strategic move in a much larger plan. Think of an archer pulling back a bowstring. The stillness before release isn't weakness, it's focus. And that was you, holding your energy in, not to avoid conflict, but to avoid lowering yourself to a fight you were never meant to fight. In the natural world, we see this over and over. The great cats of the jungle, lions, tigers, leopards, they don't roar with every step. They don't lunge at every sound. They wait, silent, patient, because they know one decisive move will do more than 100 frantic swings. You, chosen one, embody that same energy. You were the tiger in the tall grass, watching every move they made, letting them believe the illusion that they were safe, that they had control. And here's the truth. They couldn't handle your restraint. They thought your refusal to fight back was proof that you couldn't fight back. They didn't realize your silence was the ultimate show of power. Because you weren't holding your tongue out of fear, you were holding it out of discipline. You knew the full weight of your words, and you understood that once released, there's no calling them back. Imagine a dam holding back millions of gallons of water. On the other side are towns, fields, and entire lives. That water could destroy everything in minutes if unleashed. You were that dam, chosen one. Every insult, every betrayal, every attempt to smear your name was pressure building behind you. And yet, you didn't release the flood not because you lacked the strength, but because you understood that the divine already had its own release plan in motion. Sometimes, holding back isn't about protecting them, it's about protecting yourself. You knew that if you lashed out in your own strength, you'd be stepping into their arena, where chaos rules and truth gets twisted. Instead, you stayed aligned with the higher law, refusing to let their darkness dictate your actions. You knew the difference between power and control, and you chose control every single time. And here's what they'll never admit: your silence haunted them. It still does. There's a special kind of fear that creeps into a person's mind when the one they tried to destroy simply doesn't break. No reaction, no retaliation, no public meltdown, just peace. That peace eats at them because it's proof that their efforts failed. Now that you've stepped aside, the shield you unknowingly provided them is gone. That's the part they'll never say out loud. They were only surviving the consequences because your presence, your light, your frequency was absorbing some of the impact. But when you withdrew, the weight landed squarely on them, and they weren't ready. So now they sit in the aftermath of their own actions. Relationships they thought were unshakable are cracking. Doors that once opened easily now slam shut. The same people they used to rally against you are slowly backing away from them, not wanting to get caught in the fallout. It's not bad luck, it's the ripple of their own choices finally reaching the shore. And you're still standing. You're lighter, freer, stronger, because you never let their storm pull you off center. You understood that the storm was never yours to fight. Your only job was to hold your ground until it passed, and it is passing. So let this be a reminder. Silence is not weakness. It's a weapon, and you wielded it with the precision of someone who knows exactly who they are. That's why, chosen one, you can stand in this moment without regret. You didn't just survive their attacks, you outlasted them. And now the same quiet they mocked is the echo they can't escape. Chosen one, we need to talk about the deepest violation of all, the moment they reached for what was never theirs to touch. They didn't just cross a line, they stepped into sacred territory. And the thing about sacred territory is this: it's not guarded by walls you can see, it's guarded by laws you can't break without a cost that will follow you for the rest of your life. They weren't satisfied with their own lane. No, they wanted yours. They wanted your gifts, your essence, your divine fingerprint, the very things the Creator stitched into you before you took your first breath. This wasn't just about envy, it was about spiritual theft. They thought if they studied you long enough, copied your ways closely enough, they could take on your light as their own. But here's the unshakable truth. Divine assignments are not transferable. You cannot steal someone's anointing and expect it to work for you. Just like a crown forged for one head will crush another, what was made for you will never fit them. And yet, they tried. They mimicked your language, adopted your style, mirrored your movements, hoping no one would see the difference. They didn't understand that the universe knows authenticity the way the body knows the difference between nourishment and poison. Let me give you this image. Imagine a priceless jewel locked in a vault. It's not just valuable, it's coded to recognize its rightful owner. A thief might slip inside and grab it, thinking they've won. But the moment it touches their hand, an invisible signal is sent out. The entire system knows the jewel is in the wrong possession, and every force moves to recover it. That's what happened when they tried to carry your spiritual identity. They activated an alarm in the unseen realm. From that moment, they weren't just in danger, they were marked for correction. This wasn't going to be a generic set of consequences. No, the response would be tailored to their exact offense. Every false compliment, every sly manipulation, every attempt to drain your energy, it all became part of the bill they now have to pay. Psychologists tell us that envy drives people to either destroy or absorb what they can't create. In this case, they wanted to absorb you. They didn't want to stand beside your light, they wanted to be it. But spiritual law does not work that way. When you try to step into a role that was never assigned to you, the weight of that role doesn't crown you, it crushes you. And that's exactly what's happening to them now. Mentally, they are unraveling. Emotionally, they're unstable. Physically, they're exhausted. Spiritually, they're disconnected. Because your light wasn't just something they could borrow, it was sustained by a connection they never had, a relationship with the divine they never cultivated. They tried to skip the process, bypass the cost, and now they're living with the consequences. And you didn't have to expose them. You didn't have to call them out or defend yourself to every person they fooled. The energy they tampered with is now working against them. It's the perfect balance. Your hands stay clean while the truth reveals itself, piece by piece, in ways they can't control. There's a reason sacred texts talk about "touch not my anointed." It's not about elevating a person's ego, it's about warning that there is an invisible fence around certain souls. Cross it, and you're no longer dealing with just the person you're dealing with, the source that sent them. And the source always protects its investment. That's you, chosen one, an investment of heaven. And the more they tried to counterfeit you, the more obvious the difference became. Because no matter how closely they studied you, they could never replicate the origin of your light. And now, the very thing they tried to steal is the proof of their downfall. Your glow is still here. Theirs was never real and it's fading fast. So stand firm in this. You never lost what they tried to take. Your gifts were never in their hands to begin with. The attempt was the crime. The fallout is the sentence. And you get to watch untouched, as the law of the unseen does exactly what it was designed to do. Chosen one, let's look at one of their most desperate tactics, the way they tried to shatter your image. They believed that if they could ruin your name, they could control your future. They whispered in corners, painted false pictures, and crafted narratives that never existed. They wanted to write your story for you, And in their version, you were the villain. But here's what they didn't see coming. Truth has a pulse. It may be slow, it may be quiet, but once it wakes up, it cannot be stopped. And in your case, chosen one, the truth didn't just wake up, it started running. Imagine someone throwing a rock at a mirror, believing that if they smash it, your reflection disappears. But instead, the glass breaks in such a way that it reflects their face in 100 different shards. That's exactly what happened here. Every attack on your name ended up revealing more about them than it ever did about you. At first, it may have looked like they were winning. People listened, some believed, a few even joined in, nodding along to the lies, because it was easier than questioning them. For a season, the performance worked because that's all it ever was, a performance. Every rumor was a scene, every smirk was a costume, and every fake story was a line in a script they rehearsed over and over. But here's the thing about performances: they don't last forever. Eventually, the curtain falls. And when it did, the audience started to remember the truth. They began to notice the cracks, the inconsistencies, the way the lies didn't line up with what they'd seen from you themselves. And one by one, the crowd stopped clapping. And this is the part that makes the universe's justice so perfect. The stage they built to mock you has now become the stage of their own exposure. People who once laughed with them are now looking at them differently. The whispers are no longer about you, they're about them. The spotlight they wanted to use to humiliate you is now blinding them, showing every hidden motive, every manipulative act, every petty scheme. You didn't have to shout to clear your name. You didn't have to chase every rumor. You just had to keep showing up in your truth, consistently, faithfully, with no break in your character. Over time, that consistency did what no argument ever could. It revealed who was real and who was pretending. This is the law of reflection in action. When someone tries to distort your image, they end up creating a distorted reflection of themselves. And the more energy they pour into it, the clearer that reflection becomes to everyone watching. Now, here's the part they're struggling to live with. They thought tearing you down would elevate them. They believed that if they made you look small, they'd look bigger by comparison. But the opposite happened. Your stability has become their exposure. Your peace has become their embarrassment. And your refusal to engage in their games has made their games look childish to everyone else. The universe has a way of turning falsehood into confession. Without even realizing it, they've told the world exactly who they are, not through honesty, but through the way they treated you. And now, the audience that once cheered for them is slowly stepping away, not wanting to be associated with the mess. And chosen one, this is where you need to hold your head high. Because while they were busy trying to rewrite your story, you were living it. While they were focused on manipulating perception, you were building reality. And reality always outlasts rumor. The most powerful thing you can do now is exactly what you've been doing: nothing. Let their own reflection do the work. Every time they tried to smear you, they dipped their own hands in the paint. And now, no matter how much they try to wash it off, the stains are there for the world to see. They didn't destroy your image, they destroyed their own. And the beauty of it is, you didn't even have to touch the glass. Chosen one, they thought they had you figured out. They believed the blow they delivered would be the one to finish you. In their minds, this was your ending, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss. They pictured you folding in on yourself, retreating from life, and disappearing into silence. They mistook your pain for a permanent state. But they forgot one vital truth about you. Chosen ones don't just survive the fire, we are transformed by it. What they meant to be your burial became your rebirth. Imagine an ancient artifact buried deep in the earth. For centuries it lies hidden, untouched, covered in layers of soil. Then a violent storm comes. The wind howls, the rain lashes down, the ground itself shifts, and when the storm passes, the artifact is revealed in all its brilliance, shining in the light for the first time in generations. That was you. Their betrayal was the storm, but instead of burying you deeper, it uncovered the strength, the clarity, and the authority that were always inside you. Pain has a way of unlocking parts of the soul we didn't even know were there. For some, it destroys. For others, those marked by divine purpose, it refines. Every sleepless night you endured was like a code being written into your spirit. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every moment you thought you couldn't go on was another brick in the foundation of the life you're building now. You didn't just heal from what they did, you evolved. Your eyes became sharper. Your discernment grew keener. You started noticing patterns in people, motives in actions, energies in rooms that others couldn't see. You began speaking with more weight in your words, walking with more purpose in your steps. The person you were before they tried to break you isn't the person standing here now, and that terrifies them. Because the truth is, they were comfortable with the version of you that hadn't yet been activated. That version still had blind spots they could exploit. That version still gave the benefit of the doubt to those who didn't deserve it. But now you've been upgraded. The betrayal they thought would destroy you actually installed the very tools you needed to rise beyond their reach. Science tells us pressure creates diamonds. History shows us great leaders are forged in the fires of adversity. And the divine has been telling us since the beginning what the enemy meant for harm, the Creator will use for good. Your life is the living proof of that law. And here's the shift they can't handle. They no longer have access to the same place in your life. You're not coming back to them in any form they recognize. The softness they used to manipulate is now guarded by discernment. The trust they once abused is now protected by wisdom. And the energy they once drained is now reserved for what truly matters. They watch you now and feel something they can't admit out loud, a mix of fear and regret, because they see it. They see that not only did they fail to end you, but their very actions pushed you into a season where your growth is undeniable. You are walking through doors they swore would stay closed to you. Opportunities are showing up that don't make sense to the natural mind. And every new step you take upward is a reminder that their plan backfired completely. Chosen one, this is your war mode, but not in the way the world thinks of war. You're not fueled by bitterness or revenge, you're fueled by clarity. You're not swinging wildly at everything in sight. You're moving with precision, guided by the hand of the one who saw everything they did in the dark. They thought the storm would sink you. But storms don't sink ships built for the deep, they reveal them. And now, as you sail into new waters with the wind of divine favor at your back, they're left on the shore, watching a vessel they no longer have the power to touch. You are not just surviving, you are ascending. And that, more than any consequence the universe can deliver, is the truest form of justice they will ever witness. Chosen one, let's get something clear. What they're going through right now is not bad luck. It's not coincidence. It's not a rough patch they just happened to stumble into. What they are facing is a direct, precise, and inescapable payment for a spiritual debt they created the moment they crossed you. The universe doesn't take revenge the way humans do. It doesn't lash out in anger. It keeps records. It takes inventory. And when the count is complete, it sends the invoice not to the wrong address, not to someone else, but directly to the one who earned it. And the charge for violating a protected soul is always steep. Think of it like someone using a stolen credit card. At first, they're thrilled. They're swiping without consequence, collecting what they think is theirs to keep. But every transaction is being tracked. Every indulgence, every theft, every moment of arrogance, it's all building a bill in their name. And when the statement arrives, there's no arguing with it, no returning the items, no payment plan that makes it painless. That's exactly what has happened here. Every time they manipulated you, every time they fed off your kindness without giving back, every time they disrespected your loyalty as if it were disposable, they were swiping that card. And now the bill has come due with interest. What's hitting them now is not generic misfortune, it's a tailor-made correction. The Creator does not waste precision. Their losses, the crumbling of their relationships, the sudden blockages they can't explain, each one is connected directly to an act they thought went unseen. And the irony? Many of these consequences are unfolding in the same areas where they once gloated over you. They laughed when you were struggling financially, now their own finances are unstable. They celebrated when you felt isolated. Now they are surrounded by empty chairs where allies used to sit. They mocked the doors that closed for you now. Every door they try to open refuses to budge. This is spiritual law in motion, not revenge, not cruelty, balance. Because the energy you put into the world doesn't evaporate. It travels, and it returns always to its source. And when you aim harm at someone whose steps are ordered, that harm doesn't just come back, it comes back magnified. And here's something they will never admit out loud. You were shielding them. Your presence in their life was a covering they didn't even know they had. When you loved them, prayed for them, stood by them, you were a barrier between them and the full weight of the consequences they had already started to attract. But when they mistook your grace for weakness and pushed you out, they also pushed out that protection. Now, they're experiencing life without your covering. The difference is night and day, and deep down, even if they can't put it into words, they feel it. They feel the heaviness in the air. They feel the resistance in places that used to flow easily. They feel the unease in rooms where they once walked confidently. And chosen one, this is where you must remember. You didn't cause this. You didn't curse them. You didn't plot their downfall. All you did was remove yourself from the equation, and in doing so, you removed the shield. The rest? That's just the law of return doing its work. The universe is not petty, but it is exact. It doesn't punish without cause, and it doesn't bless without reason. They wrote this outcome with their own actions, and now they must read it, line by line. No shortcuts, no erasing the page. The best thing you can do is stay in your lane. Let them learn what they refused to hear when it came gently. You've been delivered from their grip for a reason, and watching from a distance as the balance restores itself is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's the living proof that no one touches what is sacred and walks away unchanged. They called it luck when you flourished. They'll call it bad luck now that they've fallen, but you know the truth, and so does the keeper of the ledger. Chosen one, there is a door they will never find again. It's not locked, it's gone. Removed from the hallway of their life the moment they decided you were expendable. And that, more than anything, will be the punishment they carry for the rest of their days. See, when they had access to you, they didn't just have you, they had the atmosphere you carried, the favor that followed you, the quiet shield that kept certain storms from touching them. But they never connected the dots. They thought their life was flowing because of their own ability, their own charm, their own work. They thought the peace they felt in your presence was just good energy they could find anywhere. They were wrong. What they were standing in was grace, your grace. The kind that isn't available on demand, the kind you don't stumble into twice. But instead of honoring it, they mishandled it. Instead of protecting it, they treated it like it was replaceable. So the divine did what the divine always does. When something sacred is consistently disrespected, it removed it. Quietly, cleanly, without warning. No dramatic scene, no final blowout, just distance. Just absence. One day they could call you, lean on you, step into your space without hesitation, and the next, nothing. Silence. And that silence is louder than any confrontation could have been. Because now they're living in rooms that feel heavier, doors that don't open, conversations that never lead anywhere. They can't name what's missing, but you can. It's you. It's the covering you carried, the spiritual insurance policy they didn't realize they were under until it expired. The most brutal part of this isn't even that they lost access, it's that they have to watch you thrive without them. They have to see you stepping into blessings they can't sabotage, opportunities they can't block, circles they'll never enter. They have to live with the knowledge that they once stood close enough to touch the light they now only see from a distance. And here's what makes it sting even more. You're not looking back. You're not waiting for them to change. You're not leaving the door cracked, just in case. No, chosen one, you've learned what few people ever do, that some connections, once broken, are never meant to be restored. There's a line in ancient wisdom that says, "Do not return to the place from which you were delivered." You were delivered from them, and no amount of apologies, nostalgia, or promises can rewrite the truth of who they were when it mattered most. Their sorry won't rebuild the bridge, their regret won't reopen the door. Because this isn't about punishment, it's about protection. And deep down, they know it. They know they can't come back. They know they could never hold the space in your life they once did. And that knowledge, that's the real sentence. It's not a loud, fiery downfall, it's a lifetime of realizing they forfeited something priceless and can never touch it again. Meanwhile, your life moves forward. Your circle becomes tighter, your opportunities greater, your peace unshakable. The absence of their energy only made room for more alignment, more favor, more clarity. You are no longer the same soul they mishandled. You are wiser, more discerning, and more deeply anchored in your purpose. So let them watch from the outside. Let them carry the weight of knowing the door they once walked through without thinking has vanished forever. You don't need to slam it shut, it's simply not there anymore. And that, chosen one, is the kind of justice the universe writes with a steady hand and a permanent pen. Chosen one, your rise isn't just your blessing, it's their reckoning. Every step you take upward is a mirror reflecting the law they broke. And the truth is, there's nothing they can do to reverse it. You've moved into a realm they cannot touch, and the higher you go, the clearer it becomes to them that they have been left behind by their own choices. When they watch you now, it's not just envy they feel, it's recognition. Recognition that you were never the person they tried to convince themselves you were. Recognition that their version of you was a lie, a coping mechanism to justify the way they treated you. And now, seeing you rise forces them to confront a reality they've spent years avoiding. They crossed someone they should have honored. Your elevation has become the evidence. They can tell themselves you got lucky or caught a break, but deep down they know better. They remember every moment they underestimated you, every time they whispered against you, every opportunity they tried to block. And now, the fact that you're thriving anyway is an indictment they can't escape. Think of it like this. Imagine a seed buried in the soil, ignored, maybe even stepped on. They thought it would stay there, unseen, unimportant. But instead, it grew into a tree so tall it casts a shadow over everything they tried to build. That's your life now. Your growth has become a constant reminder of their failure, not because you're trying to rub it in, but because your very existence tells the truth. And here's what they don't realize. Your rise isn't even about them. It's about you stepping into the fullness of who you are, about you aligning completely with your divine purpose. The fact that it also serves as their reckoning is just a side effect of spiritual law. When light fulfills its purpose, it automatically exposes what was hiding in the dark. Your journey from the pit they dug for you to the platform you stand on now is living proof of balance. The same universe that recorded every harm they sent your way is the one opening doors for you now. Every blessing in your path is a stamp of approval that they can't counterfeit or erase. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to say a word. You don't have to justify yourself, explain your success, or defend your position. The fruit speaks for itself. They will feel this for years, not just in their circumstances, but in the lingering ache of knowing they lost access to you. Every time they see your name, hear your voice, or even remember your presence, it will stir something inside them. And that stirring won't be joy, it will be the reminder of what they threw away. But for you, chosen one, this is the season to walk boldly. You're not just standing, you're standing untouchable. You've been through the fire and come out without the smell of smoke. You've faced the storm and found the wind was pushing you toward destiny. Every scar has become a seal of authority. Every loss has turned into a gain you couldn't have planned for yourself. So move forward with your head high, knowing the law has been fulfilled. You don't need to track the details of their downfall. It's not your responsibility to monitor justice. Your responsibility is to keep shining, keep building, and keep stepping into rooms you once only dreamed of. Because this is the truth. Their chapter in your story is over, And your story has only just begun. Your rise will continue, your influence will expand, and your light will grow brighter not to spite them, but because that is what you were always destined for. And the most powerful part? They can't stop it, they can't reverse it, and they can't follow you there. Your elevation is your divine confirmation. And for them, it is the undeniable proof that when the universe says, "Touch not what is sacred," it means it. You are untouchable, chosen one. And this is only the beginning.